This is Marcy Penner in the latest Studio Calico video, and lately I have been working a lot in my traveler's notebook. And so this is just an example of a booklet that goes in there that I'm working on. And so I wanted to go through a bit today of how I make a page in here and how I work with the fact that it's a bound item. So here's just an example of something I did. Now all I really wanted to say about this is because this is a bound item, my biggest concern is that I can't use brads or a stapler or sewing or anything that will go through the page. So I just wanted to mention what I do tend to do is when I have a page, I'll actually skip the next page and I'll work on this page next. So what that means is if I do any sewing or anything, it will be on this side, and then when I'm done, I just glue these two pages together. So what that does is it adds a little bit of strength to this one, plus it covers up any of my stitching, and it actually lets me do things like that. So I just wanted to preface this video by mentioning that. Now what also happens a lot is I find lately that I have more time for project life than I do for actually scrapbooking layouts, and I have found that I tend to like vertical photos a lot in my project life. I do still take horizontal photos obviously, but what I tend to do is I tend to print them at 3.5 inches wide and keep those for in my notebook. So that's where these two photos came from. They would have been normally put into my project life, but like I said, I'm liking the vertical photos more lately, so these will end up in here. So what I like to do usually is to keep my photos on one side and like my journaling on the other side. I don't know why. There's no real reason for that other than that's just my preference. So what I did ahead of time was I went through the Wink Wink kits and add-ons, and I kind of pulled some things that I thought might work with, well, it's pictures of mud. So what do you do with that? My boys have been big into digging trenches. And it looks like my youngest is in kind of like a timeout, but he's not. So they dig trenches and they cover them with doors, and they have this whole army course thing that they're working on. So, so I looked for kind of earthy papers, anything that was kind of like nature related, so that explains the leaf, or it could be a feather, I suppose. Paper and some kind of yellow, and I kept the craft. I thought that would work well. And then I also pulled some gold, because always gold, and some chipboard and a tag. So we'll see what happens. I find that often when I work in my traveler's notebook that I use a lot of my scraps a lot, and I don't have a lot of scraps from this one particular add-on where these papers were in, so I didn't get it in time to use it, but I'm using it now. So I'm just gonna go grab the rest of my stuff and we will get started here. Okay, so I'm gonna start by matting my photos, I think, and I'm leaning towards either of these, perhaps. Well, let's go with the yellow. I think it kind of pops a little bit. So I'm just going to space my photos a little bit, and I'm just going to cut kind of haphazardly, as long as it fits in my notebook. Straight lines aren't my biggest concern. These notebooks are 4.25 inches wide or so, and I'll use the smaller ones too. Those are fun when you have like one photo. It just makes everything so fast and so easy, and you can take it with. It's like portable. I'm really, really, really liking this for where I am in my life right now, and the amount of time that I have right now. Okay, so I'm going to mat these at the bottom. And I think I'm going to save one of these craft stickers up here on this tag, and I think I'll journal here. So I'm going to embellish up here a little bit, I think. Maybe do a little title. Let's see. I'm going to add a little bit more pattern paper, I think. Just because I didn't pull a lot of embellishments this round. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and glue this down. Oh, that's, see, I really should look at both sides. That was very pretty side. Next time. Okay, and this one I'm not going to glue down. Actually, sure, why not? Okay, so let's go ahead and let's see which one. Okay, wild and free I think would work with my topic. So I'm going to, I think I probably have an adequate amount of stuff to say. So I think I'll stick the sticker here. And I'm going to put it further down so that I do still have room I can stitch at the top. And I'll just trim that extra off later. And let's see. I'm going to use, I think, some flags. I think somewhere I had a printed out flag that I didn't use from the printables for the month. And I think I'm going to do a little bit of layering of those. Maybe throw some of the gold in there. Let's see if I can layer this over top. Oh, well, a little bit. And so I'm going to fill these up. I'm going to try to see if I can layer over my photo a little bit. And then I think we'll do a little asterisk on top of that. And I very much find that when I'm working in notebooks that I don't stress out as much about what goes where, and it's more kind of playful, I think, for me, I have found. Okay, so I'm going to stick with this, I think. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue these down and do my journaling and my stitching, and then I'll come back and kind of show you guys what this ended up. Okay, so I'm back, and now here you can see a little bit of what I was trying to talk about earlier, is how my stitching goes through the back of the page. So here was my first page that just had a simple little message on it, and then a blank page, and then my next spread. So now what I can do is I can go ahead and I can glue those together. So now you have a thicker page and you have stitching elements that don't show through on the back side. So my next page will skip here and I'll be working in here. So that's kind of what that was. And so I finished up my journaling, and I sewed some stuff down, and I just remembered I had pulled out these alphabets. So I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to do a short title that kind of sits right beside this asterisk on top of the banners. So I think let's just go with dig. I mean, that's Doesn't get much shorter than that. This is one of those alphabets that I really, really love because it's simple and classic, and if this was the only alphabet that ever existed in sticker form, I would be totally fine. Okay, so that's that. I might stamp a date on here yet, I'm not sure, but this is basically how I go through and make pages in my booklets. Obviously this booklet is a new one, so it's not full yet, but it will get there. So thanks for watching, and if you do work in notebooks, either with your journaling or using them kind of as scrapbooks or mini books, we would love to see them show up in the gallery just for more inspiration.